So today I'm going to discuss some of the sparks which I got and what I thought that where I was not believing anything, I was forced to believe by results. And also some of the very younger students sparked that idea in me. So our topic generally is the best chemist is nature. The most beautiful flower, aroma. All of us, human structure is one of the best construction nature had. And we can go to nature for some of the treatment for which we are struggling for a very long time, that is cancer. So with that, before I go for further talk, I would like to dedicate today's talk in the memory of Kevin Covian, who lost his fight against leukemia in an early age, but he remains the inspiration for all of us to keep fighting against it. So, general question, what are all we made out of, how cancer arises, and so on. Our body is made out of trillions and trillions of cells. And those cells divide, differentiate, and they are the one because of which we are alive, we do our job. They have another function, a very selfless function of committing suicide or apoptosis. As I am talking to you, many cells in my body are committing suicide because to keep me healthy. Those are the cells which have got their DNA damage, they are dysfunctional, they are not doing anything good. They thought, okay, I might become cancerous, good idea, die. So that is the process, that is the process what we call apoptosis. That is the inbuilt process to not to have any bad cells in the body, keep getting rid of that. And now in cancer research, people are trying to remind the cancer cells, can you please activate this program of suicide? And that is what we are working on. Our group is focused on finding the mechanism of cell death or suicide so that we can selectively target cancer cells. Now, why is the problem treating cancer? A simple thing, a student asked me, well, we have antibiotics and we eat it, all bacteria are killed and we are fine. Why not we have anti-tumotic compound or anti-tumor compound like that? Well, it is not that simple. Bacteria is very small, very different structure compared to our own cells. So we design those chemicals are actually natural products from, let us say, the fungal antibiotic we got, penicillin, which only targets the bacteria. Our cells are perfect. When it comes to cancer cells, this is the normal cell and this is the cancer cell. I changed only the nomination because they are our own cells. Whatever we designed to target the cancer cell, invariably it starts targeting the normal healthy cells. That is why we have side effect. So now knowing the complexity, let us get to the bottom of it. How do we get cancer? How does cancer originate? Generally, cells have this nuclei. In the nuclei, there are 3 billion base pair long DNA, deoxyribonucleic acid. Sorry for the jargon, but that is our blueprint. Any damage to that blueprint can potentially cause cancer. And that damage could be caused by radiation, chemotoxins, or by replication error itself, by accidental error in the cells itself. Now, in order to not to have cancer, there are 3 safeguard mechanisms. If damage occurs, immediately cells start going to this DNA damage repair mode. Immediately they fix it and go on with their life. And if the damage is too much, then they prefer to go for the previous program I was talking to you, the apoptosis. They commit suicide if damage is too much to repair, so that they don't become cancerous. Sometimes, if both of these things are not working, repair and cell death, both of them are not working, they have the third option to go to senescence. They lock themselves into G0 stage, they do not divide anymore. And if all those 3 safeguards fail and the cells with damaged blueprint starts dividing, that keeps accumulating more mutations and becomes cancerous. Now, once we have got the cancers, what can we do? All of you know this is the problem faced by all of us. Have some relative, some person, family member suffering with it. And lots of money, lots of research has gone. We have made a fantastic advancement in the understanding as well as surgical improvement, diagnosis, and so on. But truth is still is that we are struggling for the treatment. So what we have for the treatment? If surgically removed, fantastic. Otherwise, we have these chemotherapies which cause DNA damage, radiation therapy, and then DNA damaging drugs which we use for chemotherapy. Again, I will share the first spark of my life when I was practicing a public presentation in Bangalore, and my friend's daughter was listening to it. She was a high school student, not interested in science, so she was a perfect audience for me for a public presentation. The moment I put this slide, she said, "Wait a minute, you must be kidding." I said, "No, it is serious." She said, "How can you do that? Just now he told me that cancer is caused by DNA damage, by radiation, and by chemotoxin. And now you are telling me that to those same patient you give the same toxic drug to treatment? How does it make the sense?" And that is the paradox of science today. Unfortunately, lots of advancement has been made, good treatment have come, but by and large 90% of chemotherapy cannot distinguish between normal and cancerous cells. So we do get severe side effects. And not only that, many of them can cause DNA damage in healthy cells and make them cancers. So that is what, in fact, Kevin Covian's parent wrote that Kevin could fight the cancer but could not fight the cure. He had severe side effect, immunocompromised, died of multiple infections actually. So now what can we do? Alternatives. So we have been working on some of the natural compounds. Why not look for more natural compounds? 70% of the chemotherapies come from the natural sources. For example, Taxol. But Taxol is not selective. Still it can cause side effect. There might be some other compounds which would be selective. To be honest with you, I was not very optimistic with this natural compound. When I was introduced to pancreatistatin by a McMaster chemist, and he was complaining that biologists take my compound, they never get back to me. We took that compound, I thought it might not work, and the first experiment we did works so wonderfully. Liver cancer cells were treated, and this is the live, I think there is a video. Can you please bring your hand? Yeah, there you go. Within 24 hours, those cells started committing suicide. Picture perfect apoptosis. And not only this, when we treated with the healthy cells, no apoptosis. Healthy cells were not at all affected. And that got me into natural product and natural health product. Now I was going to check many of the other stuffs as well. So generally, anti-cancer treatments, the way they are discovered, that you find a compound or extract, you test it on the petri dishes where we grow the human cancer cells and normal cells, healthy cells, and if they can distinguish and they can kill the cancer cells, good. Many times things work in the petri dishes but do not work in physiological situation. In that scenario, we test them further in an animal model of cancer. And if that passes that, we also try to find out scientific validation. How does it work? What are the targets? And once all these three things are done, then drug is poised to be approved for clinical trial. This is how other chemotherapies have evolved, except majority of them did have side effects, could not be selective. And now we wanted to do the same thing with various natural products, and particularly go to the source. So in order to purify a single compound from the Taxol, from the yew tree or something, we wanted to go to some of the traditional, those natural extracts which people have been taking, try to test them out. Again, this was brought to me by Dr. Ham, an oncologist. So a chemist introduced to me to a natural product, pancreatistatin, and an oncologist introduced me to dandelion root extract. She just said that there were a couple of patients which showed up, and after 2 rounds of chemotherapy, they refused to take chemotherapy, and they went home. She was expecting that they will be brought back in the ambulance. Contrary to that, they came on their own, and apparently their blood counts or cancer counts were low. And when she inquired, apparently they were taking dandelion root tea. So this 1 or 2 patients is always coincidental evidence. But having seen some of the natural compound in action, I thought we will test it. And this is how we started the dandelion project. We are right now testing 24 different extracts, but I will tell you mainly about dandelion and long pepper. So this is another experiment. We dug out the dandelion root and just ground it in the home blender with water, make the extract, filtered it, and tried to put on the same petri dishes where we grow the cancer cells. This is the leukemia cells. And frankly speaking, I was not expecting any activity because it is so diluted. 20 microliter of that 10 milliliter cocktail we make, we put into the petri dishes, and cancer cells started dying. All those bright shrunk cells are dead. And more importantly, same concentration did not do anything to healthy cells on the other side, normal cells. And that was the spark. And that was quite fascinating. We went ahead and tested it on very different kind of cancer cells. We have published 4 or 5 papers with that. One more experiment we did where we got the ethical permission to talk to the blood cancer patient, take their blood, bring that in the lab, and put in the test tube and try to treat that with dandelion. 11 patients we tested. To all of them it worked so beautifully. Except that it is not a clinical trial. It is called ex vivo experiment, cancer taken out of the body. Of course, we have to go for clinical trial. We are doing that. So another thing we discovered that this is not pure. It's a total natural extract, ground and extracted. It has lots of compound. So it could be possible that there are multiple compounds must be targeting multiple weaknesses of the cancer, and then they're killing them. So it might be more efficacious than pure one compound. That is our hypothesis and kind of the spark of the idea spark today. And indeed what we found, at least we have already characterized more than 10 compounds in this extract. Some of them are known to have anti-cancer property, but if they are pure, you require 10 times, 20 times, even 1,000 times more concentration. If they are present together, you require very tiny quantity. So in natural extract, there are multiple compounds which can act in synergy to kill the cancer cells. And it is not only true with the dandelion. We are working with long pepper, kind of not spice. People think it is spice, but it is the Ayurvedic medicinal plant found lots in India. Not very expensive. You can buy $3 a pound or something like that. We bought 1 pound and we are still working on it. It is so efficient. So that extract contains a pure compound, piperlongumine. People know about it, but again, you require very high amount. And when we tested the alcoholic extract of long pepper on the cancer cells on that side, normal cells on this, it not only killed them selectively, those bright cells are dead, it also seemed to be targeting the mitochondria of the cancer, the powerhouse of the cancer cell. It was very selective. Healthy cells on this panel, the mitochondria are, all those red indications are, they are healthy. On the other hand, the cancer cells, when treated with tiny amount, they are all dead. So that gave lots of confidence that indeed multiple compound targeting multiple target might be a good idea. Of course, everything works in the test tube and petri dishes. We have to show that it works in the animal model. So these are the colon cancer samples transplanted into the nude mice and immunocompromised mice. And those mice were kept on water on the top. On the bottom, they were given dandelion root extract to drink. They love it actually. Okay? And what we saw was almost complete halt of tumor growth. You can easily say in both of the mice down and up difference. Similar results were found with the long pepper extract. So these 2 extracts already have been proven scientifically that they indeed are as good as any other anti-cancer drug, but bonus is they are well tolerated. Dandelion root is being taken for thousands of the year in the form of tea in many cultures. So with all this, we presented our data to Health Canada. Before I describe that, this is an anecdote for a Windsor family who gave the permission to show a picture of her dog. And Lola was diagnosed with oral melanoma, pretty big, and given only a few weeks to live. Vet said nothing can be done. And she heard about our dandelion story. She bought the dandelion root, ground it, and put in the food. And apparently, miraculous, the tumor started shrinking. And eventually, vet could remove it. And Lola is a very happy, my dog patient, wonderfully doing very well. That could be anecdotal, but there is some proof to that. Now, when we did go with all these things, all the evidence, safety data, as well as some of the anecdotal data. Mr. DiCarlo, who was asked to leave, the hospital, nothing they could do with CMML, and he started on it. He's our star patient, 4 years, is still in remission. And as well as some other data, these anecdotal data and the animal data and the scientific proof, all published paper, made Health Canada to approve this product for clinical trial. This is the first natural health product, a natural extract, going for clinical trial as a treatment for cancer in Canada. Happens to be in Windsor. And we are looking towards that. Now, with that, we can conclude that indeed, natural extract may present a safe alternative to toxic chemotherapies. Obviously, a very good cautionary note, we should not take anything and start thinking that it's anti-cancer. Scientifically and clinically, it got to be proven. And I invite oncologists and the traditional therapists, and as well as chemists, biochemists, come together and test those possibilities. I'm not saying out of 100, every 100 will be anti-cancer good product. If out of 100 natural extract, 1 or 2 are good, it is all worth it. And that is what we are doing. And of course, it has the advantage of multiple component, multiple targets, and it can be very selective. With that, I would like to acknowledge, of course, my collaborators, Dr. Ham, Dr. McNulty, and Dr. Arnason. Dr. Arnason and McNulty are biochemists. Dr. Ham is, of course, our local cancer specialist. And of course, getting money for this kind of work is very tough. The first time I proposed the grant, the reviewer said this guy is trying to cure cancer by snake oil. So you have to be ready for that kind of criticism. But truth is, our local community came. Local Cancer Foundation, through Seeds for Hope, presented this money, and that is how project is started. Knight of Columbus contributed. Covian family, to develop safer, non-toxic treatment in memory of their son, they put $40,000, retired teacher out of their pocket. So we are all very grateful to them, of course, John H. Foundation and Ross Foundation. And of course, I am just a talker, extrovert like the previous lady. All the work is done by the student. These young people right in your community have phenomenal motivation to work and fight and find something which works for cancer without toxicity. Thank you for your listening. You are the best listener I have ever had. Thank you so much.